Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I just want to show you how I make bone broth. I'm sure you have heard about all the nutritional benefits of bone broth, and that's probably why you're here. Bone broth has become so popular in the past few years, and rightly so. It is just loaded with nutrients that are so good for your body. I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers for being here, for watching my videos, for leaving your comments and your suggestions. I really appreciate it. I love hearing all your feedback, so thank you so much. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. So what is it that makes bone broth so nutritious? There are a variety of different vitamins and minerals in bone broth, as well as amino acids. Bone broth has vitamin A, vitamin K. Bone broth is rich in calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium. It has the amino acids glutamine and glycine, which are so good for your joints. Amino acids are the building blocks in the body. They reduce inflammation. Bone broth has glucosamine, which is so good for your joints. Anyone who has any joint aches or pains or arthritis will benefit so much from drinking bone broth long term. And a huge reason why people drink bone broth is for the collagen and the gelatin. I know that's what got me started because it's so good for your hair, it's so good for your skin and your nails. It just helps maintain that elasticity in your skin, which prevents wrinkles and aging. Bone broth is also known to be so good for your gut health. It helps protect the mucosal lining and it helps patch up any leaks in your gut. So you may have heard the term leaky gut, which means that the barrier between the bloodstream and the gut is impaired or not functioning as it should. So this allows things to pass into the bloodstream, such as metals, pesticides, things that you consume that shouldn't be going into your bloodstream. And this can cause inflammation in your body, among other health problems. So when you drink bone broth, that helps patch up those leaky areas in your gut. And it's so good for conditions like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome. So when you restore your gut health, you're also improving your immune system. So drinking bone broth is going to help prevent sicknesses and illnesses and ward off those viruses and bacteria. So bone broth is so good for your hair, for your skin, for your nails, for your joints, for your cartilage. Pretty much the whole body can benefit from drinking bone broth. And I didn't know this when I got started drinking bone broth. I was just doing it for the collagen because I wanted to help my skin and hair. But when I learned it can help your immune system and your digestive system, it was something I really wanted to stick with. The nutrients in bone broth are very easily absorbed by the body. You can even give it to your dogs. They love it and it helps reduce inflammation in their bodies. So when I first started making bone broth, I did it because I was looking to start consuming collagen. I was buying supplements for a while, but they are just so expensive. So I decided to start making bone broth. So to make bone broth, you can use chicken bones, you can use beef bones, you can use fish bones. Ideally, they should be from organic and grass-fed animals to derive the most nutritional benefits. Whole Foods usually carries bones, but they don't always have the organic and grass-fed. So you'll want to check with your local Whole Foods if you're going to pick them up there. You can also check with the local butcher. They often sell bones. Or you can order them online. I know a lot of people just get their bones delivered to their door. So bone broth is made from the connective tissues of animals, which is so good for our joints and our bones and our skeletal system. Bones usually cost about $5 per pound. That can be a little bit higher or lower depending on where you're getting your bones. Also, if they are organic, grass-fed bones, that price might be a little bit higher. So I'm just going to show you everything that you need to make bone broth. It's super easy and you don't really need many supplies at all. So first of all, you need a slow cooker or a large pot. I like to use a slow cooker because I don't have to worry about the stove being on and leaving it. Of course, you need your bones. These are beef bone marrow bones. And ideally, it should be enough bones to cover the bottom of your pot or your slow cooker. So you'll need an acid to help pull the nutrients out of the bones. Most people use apple cider vinegar. You can use Bragg. This one's Omega Nutrition. But that's going to help pull those nutrients out of the bones as they cook. This is the pitcher I use to pour the bone broth into once it's done cooking. But before I put it into this pitcher, I use this strainer to separate the bones from the broth. Once it's done cooking. And then of course you need water. This is just filtered Brita water. So that's it, that's all you need. It's super simple and it's even more simple to prepare. So I'm gonna go ahead and add everything to my slow cooker and get it cooking. I like to cook my bones for at least 2 to 3 days. The minimum is about 24 hours to get the benefits of bone broth, but the more you cook it, the more nutrients you're going to pull out of those bones. I usually have to add a little bit more water and vinegar as it's cooking because the amount decreases over the course of the few days. If you add too much vinegar, it can leave a sour taste to your bone broth. I've done that before, so just keep it around 2 tablespoons and you should be good. Now we're just going to put the lid back on it, and I usually start it out on high until it starts boiling, and then I reduce it. As the bone broth starts to boil, I reduce it to low or even keep warm because the bone broth will bubble over the sides if you keep it on high. And for my slow cooker, if I put it on the keep warm setting, it still is boiling the entire time. So just make sure you leave a little bit of room from the top so that your bone broth has room to boil and it doesn't boil over. And that's it. It's so easy to make. The longest part is just waiting for it to cook. I know a lot of people do it in an Instapot. I just don't have one of those, but if you do it that way, your bone broth can be done in a couple of hours. So it's already starting to get warm and we're just gonna wait now. We got a lot of snow here the past few days. And this is my favorite time to drink bone broth in the winter. It's very warm and comforting. It's also really satisfying and filling. I don't add a lot to my bone broth, just salt and pepper, but I know a lot of people add vegetables and a lot of different herbs and spices. So you can do whatever you want with your bone broth, but for me, I just do salt and pepper and it's delicious. Sometimes it's my meal and I don't need anything else. So we're gonna let that cook and I will check back in over the course of the next few days to see what it's looking like, to see how much gelatin is forming. It's so exciting to see the bone broth get thicker. So there's nothing more we need to do today. We're just gonna let it cook in the slow cooker and we're gonna wait a couple of days for it to be complete. So we'll continue this in a few days. All right, you guys, so it's a couple of days later and I think our bone broth is ready. All right, you guys, so it's a couple of days later and it is time to strain the bone broth and put it in the pitcher, and then we're going to cool it so that the fat rises to the top and separates from the bone broth. I usually just let it sit in the fridge overnight, and that cools the fat layer, and it's very easy to remove from the pitcher afterwards. So bone broth stays good in the fridge for about 4 to 5 days. If you leave the fat layer on top, that seals the bone broth inside, and it can stay in the fridge for several weeks without spoiling. So if you have bone broth that you know you're not going to be drinking right away, just leave that fat layer on top and the bone broth is sealed beneath it. Also, you can freeze bone broth and it'll last a lot longer in the freezer. Alright you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make bone broth. It's so easy. I hope it inspires you to go pick up some bones and make your own bone broth. I would love to hear your variations on how you make bone broth, what you add, how long you cook it, those kind of things. So let me know down below in the comments. Alright you guys, so now it's time for you to go make some bone broth. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments and I will get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit subscribe so you get all my new videos. And please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll keep them coming if you guys want them. And if you have any ideas for future videos, please let me know down below in the comments as well. Alright you guys, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in my next video.